Story 1. Kids blasting whatever TV show on their iPads in the middle of a restaurant while I am trying to eat. The kids can watch whatever, but somebody teach them to use headphones. Story 2. Filming strangers. It's one thing if you're just taking a holiday snap or something and there are people in the background, but actually pointing your camera at strangers without consent solely for the purpose of making videos of them to post online is not cool. I get it's legal to do so in most public places. Story 3. Being expected to be constantly available via social media chat, text, and call at any and all hours. If you try to opt out, it's seen as weird or antisocial. Story 4. Throwing cigarette butts on the ground. Many people complain about smoking, and fairly so, but I enjoy a cigarette occasionally and don't mind the smell. However, it is infuriating and disgusting that everyone I know and see just tosses their garbage on the ground. Story 5. At work, if someone leaves early, no one bats an eye, but if you're just a few minutes late, you can get in hot water. Just one of those interesting societal norms I noticed. Story 6. Groups of people who occupy the entire sidewalk and see you coming but don't make space for you to pass, forcing you to step down onto the road to keep walking. I hate those people, and it is too common. Story 7. The phone is not an electronic leash. If you call and I don't answer, leave a voicemail. If you text, I'll get back to you when it is convenient for me. You are not the only person in my life, and if you didn't give birth to me, marry me, or if I didn't give birth to you, you are further down the priority list. I will get to you on my time. This notion that we must answer immediately has to stop. Story 8. Dumping all your problems on your friends and never asking about or caring about what they have going on. I know someone like this. They are absolutely incapable of talking about anyone but themselves and their problems. Story 9. People that don't use their turn signals. I know it is a duh type of thing, but I just want to make it clear that it is something that bothers me. Story 10. Networking. I hate it. It's essentially a bunch of people engaged in a notice me and be impressed spectacle. The idea is to attend events, primarily so others are aware of your existence, with the faint hope that someday, a random individual from among the hundreds you've made eye contact with will offer you employment in a different role. I'll stick to my unexciting job and opt out of attending these time-wasting events. Thank you. Story 11. Putting everything on the internet. A movie just came out. It's terrible. Music just dropped. It's terrible. Someone made some food. It's terrible. A celebrity had a bad day and yelled at someone. It's terrible, and they should lose their career. There is nothing positive on the internet now. Everything is labeled as terrible. And if you do happen to enjoy something, someone will certainly try to break you down over it. Story 12. Same answers every time this question is asked. Noisy phones, being late, slobs, etc. Not really answering the question. These aren't norms. These are inconsiderate people. Story 13. Having the volume on your phone all the way up in public. If that's watching a video, listening to music, or talking on the phone, I don't want to hear what you're listening to or your conversation. It's rude to everyone else. No idea how it's become more acceptable for this behavior. Story 14. Some people really just need to be told to be quiet. I have met way too many people who seem to like the sound of their own voice way too much, and their constant domination of conversations seems to just be accepted by the people around them. It is incredibly frustrating. Story 15. Putting double or triple meanings behind words is not my intention. I mean the words I said exactly as they are. I do not mean that left field interpretation you've decided they carry. For example, want to do something? I'm bored is not an invitation to a hookup. It's simply a statement expressing that I'm bored and want to engage in some activity. Story 16. Talking over each other. So many people are not aware when they are interrupting someone else who's talking and just talk over them. Thank goodness for the people listening who do not switch their attention to the interrupter and keep listening to the first person talking. But it happens way too often without people addressing it much. Story 17. Using psychological disorders to describe minor problems is misleading. It detracts from those who genuinely suffer from these conditions. For instance, saying, "I have anxiety," when merely feeling nervous, or stating, "I'm obsessive-compulsive," to express a desire for cleanliness and order is inappropriate. Similarly, describing someone's angry outburst as psychotic is incorrect. Such casual misuse minimizes the severity and reality of these mental health conditions. Story 18. The strange office or workplace culture where everyone has to be social or otherwise, you get a talk from some random higher-up about not participating enough or not being enthusiastic. Or the random enforcement of morale or office or workplace events. If a person comes to work and does their job, then leave them alone. Story 19. How acceptable it is to excessively drink alcohol. Now, I'm not saying it should be illegal or anything, but as a recovering alcoholic, it's clear to me now how the atmosphere around alcohol allows for some people who are alcoholic to operate under the illusion that they just like to party. No one is going to tell them otherwise because it's so prevalent and accepted, and for those that do need the help, it's to their detriment. Obviously, not everyone. Story 20. QR code menus are now the only option at restaurants. This is utterly ridiculous. I do not want to scroll through my phone just to see the menu. Side note, this practice encourages everyone to just pull out their iPhones for the rest of the meal. Story 21. When arriving at work in the morning, before even putting down your bags or settling in your area, people want to be in your face and start talking right away, or even start asking you work-related questions before even giving you a chance to sit down. I find it to be inconsiderate and obnoxious. Also, to assume everyone is in a joking and talkative mood every hour of the workday is mistaken. It's very draining to have to engage in constant small talk and forced laughter for more than 8 hours a day. People really need to learn how to have self and social awareness. There is an alarming amount of people who lack it. Story 22. This little game where you have to dance around people before you can accept something from them is ridiculous. If someone is offering to give me something and I want it, I'm gonna take it without this whole nonsense. Story 23. Blocking traffic flow on a sidewalk or store aisle by stopping dead in your tracks and staring intensely at your phone. Move aside if you are going to be fussing with that thing. Story 24. Presents. We have everything, and if we need anything, we just buy it without even getting out the door. Still, every Christmas, I have to find some original idea to give to brothers, parents, girlfriend, and so on. Story 25. In work, assuming that I have no plans because I don't have kids, and expecting I will always change my schedule because some mom wants to take her kid on some trip or other stuff. Story 26. Bringing your dog everywhere, including in stores. And I love dogs, but come on. Do not just assume they can come to social gatherings. Story 27. Bringing dogs, including pets or fake service dogs but not legitimate trained ones, into stores, restaurants, and so on, shows zero consideration for other people, especially those who may be allergic. You don't see people taking their cats everywhere. Story 28. Autistic person here. I hate it when people say one thing and mean another, and when they imply things. The number of times my mother has told me, the dishwasher's clean, and then got upset when it wasn't emptied when I was a teen was unfortunate, to say the least. Nowadays, she knows to ask me directly just in case I don't get it. Story 29. Tailgating. I don't care how slow the person in the left lane is going. Flash your lights. Using your car to intimidate should be illegal. It's just too dangerous. Story 30. How rowdy children are allowed to run around unsupervised in restaurants, break things in stores, or throw extreme tantrums in public, and we are supposed to be okay with it because they are just kids. Story 31. Phones at the table. We're out at the restaurant or wherever to be social and catch up. I don't want or need to go on a date with your phone. Whatever it is, I'm sure it can wait. Story 32. When you are out, whether that be out for a meal, shopping, doing some kind of activity, and spending most of the time on your phone, can't you do that when you are at home? Story 33. I just got into a discussion with a friend about this. I went to a restaurant and was hardly served. There were cups and a carafe of water already at the table, a QR code to order and pay, and you sit wherever it's open. The only time a worker came was to tell me about the QR code and drop off my food. I didn't believe a 20% tip was deserved. My friend argued that the staff depends on it and I need to consider the person bussing the table and cooks in the back. They said if I won't pay the 20% tip, then I shouldn't eat there. Tipping annoys me. Story 34. Filming at a concert. Nothing looks dumber than when you're standing still, cell phone in the air, trying to hold it steady while filming the band or singer. I'm sorry, but watching that later, you know it's garbage. Concerts are special moments not to be repeated. Just stay in the moment and put your phone down. It's going to be okay. Story 35. Listening to respond, not just to hear. I struggle with this as a neurodivergent person, but after being subjected to it from so many people, I'm putting in an effort to be better. Asking a follow-up question shows you're paying attention. Just saying, oh cool, now let me go on this tangent about something I think relates to that, shows you're not. Story 36. Avoidant tendencies. Running from conflict or tough conversations. Commitment phobia. Ghosting. Shaming people for having human emotions and choosing to express them. The whole notion of less is more. Move in silence. Don't send the paragraph. People say things like that and then wonder why everyone is so mentally troubled and unable to trust each other. Story 37. Small talk, but especially during a transaction. Look, I'm just trying to pay for my stuff. You don't care about how I'm doing, any more than I care about how you're doing. A hello and thank you are plenty. Story 38. Tipping everywhere. I don't mind tipping the server who serves me, but I hate the guilt trap for tipping the person who pours my black coffee into a cup. Story 39. Waking up early to work on computers in the office. I know some companies really need people there, but I could easily do my job from my home. I would save approximately an hour and a half of sleep. At least, let us start working later, haha. Story 40. How many times have friends canceled plans? My mom said growing up that if you made a plan with someone, you had to stick to it because you couldn't get hold of them. With everyone pretty much having a mobile phone, it's too easy for people to cancel plans or just not reply and then pretend that they were ill. Story 41. People watching videos or playing music on their devices at full volume in public. Maybe second, is the person on speakerphone so we can all hear how their baby mama wants them to pay child support. Story 42. Perhaps not everyone agrees, but it appears many people do this to me. I post a link to something, and then they ask me questions about it when all the information they seek is contained within the link. Story 43. Gossiping. I work in a barbershop, and as soon as one coworker starts talking badly about a client, everyone else chimes in with stories of their bad clients. In front of guests. It's just unprofessional, in my opinion, and leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I usually don't participate or try to tell positive stories.